Russell Wilson is cooking. Is he to chef status yet? We're going to break that down on the DNVR Broncos podcast. Todd Davis, Henry Chisholm, and Zac Stevens coming to you live from the DNVR Bar, where we've been standing in 96-degree heat all day to see Russ be even hotter on the field. Yeah. Should we just dial up how back is Russ today?
Just right to it?
Let's do it.
Let's
jump in.
Let's jump in.
Because I think people want to see this one. Let's ride. Danger Witch, Danger Russ, Mr. Unlimited.
Ooh.
Russell Wilson.
He was hot.
Was Russell Wilson today. 5 out of 5. Russell Wilson was almost 5 out of 5 today. We can't say his exact numbers because that would, inform the whole league of how good he is. 1 incompletion, though. The ball only hit the ground once, Todd. Russ was hot today.
He absolutely was. And there were some really nice throws. I think the one to Adam Trautman in the red zone drills, they were 10, 15 yards out. I should probably look at my notebook. But because the safeties
9
are
yards.
rotating 9 yards, okay, I was hoping for a little better. But he split the 2 safeties, Devon Key and Delarian Turner Yell, just this tiny little window, and Russ pounds the ball in there. Trautman catches it with one hand and goes to the ground. It was a pretty electric play.
Yeah, and I mean, that was pretty much all. I guess Russ gets some credit for it, too, but that was all Adam Trautman. Todd, it was probably the best play of camp, at least passing play of camp.
Yeah.
I mean, from the 9-yard line, Russ, we talked to him after practice, and he said Trautman wasn't even looking at him, but he just thought there was that tight of a window, so he just rifles the ball in. It's like, in that half a second, you're like, there's no way this is going to be caught. And Adam Trautman, it's like a diving one-handed catch. He's probably lucky that this wasn't full contact, because I think he would have been hit by like 3 guys and the ball probably would have come out. But it was a touchdown.
And he made the catch.
I
feel like now we can start to not refer to him as Sean's guy. Maybe there is some reason to why he's the number 1 guy. Maybe there's a lot that we haven't seen from him yet in this camp. Maybe that's, the first glimpse of many to what he can do on the field.
Well,
It is true that, you see Adam Trautman there, and the entire conversation is, why isn't Greg Dulcich number 1? Why? And so you just talk about Greg Dulcich the entire time. Maybe we should be excited about Adam Trautman.
Yeah, and today the offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardi, said that Trautman is a solid receiving tight end. He's a do-it-all guy, and he said he's quarterback-friendly in the way he can find zones, the openings, and, of course, my head goes to the greatest to do that, and that's Travis Kelce. Is like, Travis Kelce isn't the fastest guy. He's pretty strong, but it's not like he's like this prototypical receiving tight end like a Jimmy Graham, where you're really fast and you're like, is that actually just a receiver playing the tight end position? But he just has a knack of finding the open spot. And then you look over the past week, Adam Trautman, number 1 on the depth chart. Adam Trautman in the game, the only tight end to catch a pass from Russell Wilson. In fact, only the one of 3 players to catch a pass from Russell Wilson. He was targeted 3 times, came down with 2 catches in the game. And then today, he's the one working with the first-team offense. He had multiple catches from Russell Wilson again. So you kind of think, and I think you're right, you kind of have to start changing the way we talk about the tight end position, especially with what Sean said yesterday. Adam Trautman's the starter. And what Sean said yesterday was that Greg Dulcich is going to have his packages where he's in. But number 82, keep an eye on him.
Yeah, he's the man going forward. Now I'm looking forward to see what he can do. I can't say I follow him his whole career, but I definitely will be watching.
I don't know if anyone
watching him now. It's exciting now that they have another guy that can be a good pass catcher, find the openings within zone. That's your bread and butter as a tight end. Like you say, you don't have to be the fastest or the strongest, but you can sit down in a cover 3 where the linebackers are in the hook drop, and you can kind of find that area in the middle of the field, or cover 4. You can manage to run a nice little out route, a 5-yard out, to really find that space. Give your quarterback an out. If they double Jeudy, if they double Courtland, to always have an opening. that's going to be good for Russell Wilson.
It is. It's really exciting. And I think what you said, like, you don't have to be the fastest. You don't have to be the strongest. And I think that's what makes it so hard to find good tight ends. First of all, there's only a couple guys. Like, you mentioned Travis Kelce. Like, you've got George Kittle. Like, Mark Andrews is up there. Goddard's up. Like, there's a handful. But they come from strange places. You know, the Broncos drafted tight ends. You know, Noah Fant was the fastest tight end in one class. Albert O was the fastest tight end in the next class. Because if you're going to pick a trait, why not just take the fast guy? But it turns out it's usually not that guy who turns out to be the Pro Bowl tight end.
Yeah, you know where who was drafted one spot ahead of George Kittle?
Who was it?
It was Jake Butt.
Oh, good old
Former
Jake.
teammate.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, of course,
not for the
Jake Butt's
injuries.
thing was
Yeah.
it was injuries, but it's like, damn, you're right. You can find tight ends. It doesn't have to be a first-round pick. I mean, Rob Gronkowski, maybe the greatest one ever, was drafted in the second round. Shannon Sharp, not a top pick in the draft at all. And Adam Trautman, he's certainly not in the conversation with those guys. But a third-round pick. Do either of you know where he went to college?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, Hank, this should be your specialty.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not Ole Miss.
It is not Old Miss. You're giving him way too much credit coming out of high school. It's not Ole Miss
Dayton.
either. Impressive.
Wow.
That just came to you out of nowhere.
I'm sorry, it's just really hard. It's that red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Knowledge is incredible.
Yeah. I remember that draft class.
That is. You remember the whole draft class?
No. I remember the tight end. Oh, I remember him in that draft class.
Who's the wide receiver from Detroit? Is it St. Brown, who was
Yeah.
like the 9th wide receiver or 17th wide receiver taken in that draft?
Yep,
And
17th.
he remembers, like, and every year he lists all 16
Every single
receivers that were
name.
taken ahead of him.
Yeah.
Did you have anything like that?
No, I mean, I really had, like, I guess a chip on my shoulder for every NFL team. And if I looked at the draft, I think there was too many linebackers to kind of remember the list for who went above me. But I can comfortably say, like, I think I outplayed a lot of the guys that were drafted within my draft class. So I knew a couple, definitely guys from FCS that had been drafted who I definitely felt like, you know, we played in the same conference. I know I was better than, you know, another player.
Yeah.
So I remember a couple of those guys, but I think the list was too long to go first through 7 rounds and try to remember every linebacker's name.
But on the flip side, I bet the list is pretty short of guys that have outplayed you or people would say would have had a better career from that draft class. I mean, you might be at the top of that. We'll have to look into that.
Ooh, that would be
inside backers taken, I guess, just anywhere in that draft.
Yeah. Don't do any research now because
Okay.
No,
I
Hank
want to
probably
take a
knows
look
off
at
the top
it.
of his
Yeah.
head. Before we go any further, speaking of inside linebackers and Todd Davis, we've got a little giveaway. You want to tell us about it, Todd?
Yeah, so you know, I like to bring gifts.
Yeah.
And that's my thing. So throughout the course of this show and my time here at DNVR, I'll be bringing gifts, kind of like a Secret Santa, but we don't know who I'm giving it to. So you got to tune in. You got to make sure you got to comment while we're here on the show to be eligible for the gift. And this first one that we're giving away is a football card from me. And I've signed it. I believe it's after my 3rd season. It has some tackle totals and some interesting facts about me. It's a pretty cool giveaway gift, I would say.
That's so dope.
So
It is. I mean, how many other shows are you listening to where the player who signed the card, his own card, is giving it away on the show? I love this, Todd. It's so cool that
Perfect.
you're going to be doing this. And so hit a thumbs up and then also comment something, and Yahir is going to randomly draw at the end of the show. So make sure you're staying tuned to the end of the show so that we can get your information if you win the drawing. So comment, hit us with a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. And let's also, in the process, beat the Buffs. The
Yes.
Buffs just went ahead of us in terms of likes. They had a lot of comments, and we want to see that comment total get close to them. We're talking in the 400s. So let's
do
get
it.
there.
Yep.
Let's
I'm
get
used
there.
to beating the Buffs, so I mean, let's just get it done. Let's make it happen.
I love it. I love it.
I pulled up Jordan Tripp from Montana got drafted in
Yeah,
that class.
sure did.
Yeah.
That was my guy too. Good guy, but
Yeah.
I feel like I should have been drafted above him.
I mean,
He was good. He was a good player,
yeah, exactly. Like, I
Yeah.
can't really. Obviously, one career went one way and another went the other.
and he's a Montana guy, so you're not. He's not. I don't think that's a clear understanding, or you know what I'm saying.
Okay.
You're kind of biased. a little
Okay,
bit on that.
fair enough. Fair enough.
What position?
Linebacker.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I think Todd's definitely beat him out there.
Yeah. 47 tackles, I think, for Jordan Tripp.
In his career?
37 is what it is, yeah. As long as we get to shout out Jordan Tripp on this podcast,
Shout out to Jordan Tripp, man.
There we go, yeah.
He's a good guy. We actually went to we did like an All-American retreat together, and we golfed together and hung out a lot.
Oh, okay.
I definitely liked him as a person, but it's always competition.
Fair enough.
Where was the All-American trip for the conference?
I think we went to Utah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
went
that
to
makes
Utah.
sense. I didn't know. Is that a thing that all conferences do?
I don't know if there's an FBS one.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think it's like they send one player from each team
Okay.
to like this conference.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, in Utah.
And you have to be an All-American?
I think it was All Americans from what I remember.
That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Damn,
That's
that is cool. Russell Wilson was never an All-American, was he?
I
don't
doubt
think
it.
so.
Todd Davis, you were an All-American. Russell Wilson
Wow.
not.
You know,
Let's get back to Russ's day because it started with a big completion to Courtland Sutton. The very first pass that Russ had in team period. He's looking Courtland's way, and Courtland smothered. Is that fair to say? By Damari
Yeah.
Mathis.
Yeah.
About 20 yards downfield. Russ says, I don't care. That's my guy, Courtland Sutton. He listened to Todd Davis, said, I'm just still going to throw it to
Yeah.
him. So at about the 40 yards downfield is where the ball gets to him. Damari Mathis still all over Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton, the ball's kind of a back shoulder throw. I don't know if it was intentional. I don't think it was because it had a lot of loft to it. But Courtland does a great job of slowing down, turning his body, maybe
finding
using
it.
some leverage to get Damari Mathis off him a tiny bit and catches the ball. There was some debate whether that would be called a pass interference or not. I think Courtland did a good job of not extending his arms and making it seem like a pass interference. So they probably let that go. They probably let him play that out.
Yeah, I mean, it was a physical play, but I mean, that's what Courtland Sutton does. And that's kind of the risk that you run when you're throwing jump balls to Courtland Sutton is that he's just so much bigger and stronger. It's easy for teams to blow the whistle. I mean, Gronk had that same thing. They would call a couple too many penalties on Gronk. They'd let people hit Gronk on the other side as well.
Yeah.
Like it's just a little bit different game. So I wouldn't have called it, but it's the NFL with NFL refs, so you never know.
probably
Todd?
not. They wouldn't have called it. I just feel like they always side with the offense for sure,
How
no matter
frustrating is
what.
that?
Yeah, maybe
The cornerback could be on the ground,
exactly.
thrown out of bounds, and they're like, "Up, no PI." But yeah, I think it's great for Courtland and Russ. Their chemistry. I saw Russ talking about him after practice and how excited he is to work with him within his second year. And I think you got to build that chemistry and that trust early because, unlike Jerry Jeudy, I think Courtland is going to make a lot of contested catches. Jerry Jeudy is a guy who's going to be probably wide open. At least 70% of the time he's throwing the ball. I think Courtland's going to be a lot of more jump balls, a lot of more contested catches. So you earn that trust in practice. So I look forward to seeing him throw it up to Courtland even when he's covered or even when it looks like he doesn't have a chance. I feel like Courtland can make those plays.
Yeah, and I mean, Courtland's called a 50-50 guy, and in that 2019 season, he was like an 80-20 guy, and in camp, he just could not be stopped in 2019, and you kind of knew big things were coming because he would just catch all of those.
Yep.
There's no reason to have that guy in your team and have him in that role if you're not going to trust him to come down with those balls. And it's called 50-50 ball for a reason. You're not going to catch every single one, but you trust Courtland on the ones that he can't catch, that he's able to knock it down or it's an incompletion. And then, you know what? If you're 50-50 on balls 40 yards downfield, you'll take that every single day.
Yep, absolutely. And I think he makes more of the catches you wouldn't expect someone to make than like the easier catches. I think he thrives more in those heavily contested catches and makes them and comes down with the ball.
Man, when you said that, I also thought of Jerry Jeudy. I feel like that's Jeudy as well. And so that's why it's so key to find that third receiver who was the Tim Patrick, not the opposite of that, because Tim could also make really hard catches, but Mr. Reliable, who that guy is going to be when you absolutely have to have a 7-yard catch on 3rd and 6, who that's going to be. Because I agree, I think Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy might be better at catching the really difficult ones than just the simple ones because they're playmakers. They're thinking about that next step. That's exactly what Jerry Jeudy was doing on Friday night when he dropped that wide open pass. He said, I was already thinking about the end zone, and I can't do that. It's about concentration, but he's just proven over his career he's going to have a couple of those, And that's just why Tim Patrick was so good.
Yep.
Is Russ knew, I can find this. Maybe that's Adam Trautman. Maybe that's Greg Dulcich or something like that.
I'm really excited about Courtland Sutton this season. Like, really, really excited. It's just been building and building. I think the most exciting thing is the way he talks about what sort of shape he's in.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, everybody this time of year says, I'm in the best shape of my life. Like, I feel like I'm at my very peak, which is cool. But for him, he's lost weight. He says he feels stronger on top of that. He looks fast. He's playing differently than the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And what he said was that he felt like he was getting the same results the last couple of years, wasn't happy, so he just wanted to change something, see if the results change.
Yeah, he said Ryan's favorite quote, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Which is not the definition, actually.
Does that piss you off too?
It doesn't piss me off.
Okay.
I think
that gets under Ryan's skin.
I actually kind of enjoy it because it pisses Ryan off.
Me too.
So now I like hearing it because I know it bothers him. But yeah, I mean, you see him go out and make those plays, and there's just like a real reason to think that this year could be a big year for him, and that's that Sean Payton likes guys at their college weight, and he cut down, and we're going to see a different Courtland this year, and hopefully it's for the better.
Yeah, I was. He got married this offseason. I went to the wedding, had a great time.
Hell yeah.
But just sitting down and talking to him, like, he's ready, man. I think he's ready to go. He hears all the naysayers. He hears all the trade talk, and he's ready to go out and put on a show and show everybody it's time to shut up and watch me work. So I'm excited for him, man. I think he's a great football player and a great guy. So, yeah, man, watch Courtland work this year.
Man, I mean, the guy who was at his wedding is seeing the impression. So, yeah, absolutely. And he's also, it's not a contract year, but after this year, I believe a lot of the guaranteed money on his contract is either already up or there's only a little bit left. So same thing with Tim Patrick. The Broncos could move on from these guys. So while it's not a full contract year, Courtland's due a lot of money next year that the Broncos don't have to pay. So not that a player needs that motivation, but it is just a little extra something, not just for Courtland, but for any guy in that sort of situation.
Yeah, you definitely are more motivated. I mean, he's motivated based off of the naysayers and the publicity that he's had as far as last year. But at the same time, you usually can take a deep breath when you know you have a good amount of guaranteed coming. Like, you never relax, but you know, like, okay, maybe this year they can't get rid of me, but knowing that you have very little guaranteed next year, you think about that as well as far as your preparation going into this year, so that you go out there and put on tape that you can really still play. So even if you have little money guaranteed, they want you back.
Yeah. And Todd, any stories you can tell us about the wedding?
I think I signed an NDA when I got there.
That would be smart.
Yeah. No, I didn't sign it, but no, it was just a great time. I think that maybe was one of the nicest weddings I had been to. Like, they did a great job. I think there was fireworks like 12 times throughout the course of the weekend. Yeah, it was a great time. Great time with friends, and we had a lot of fun.
Where was it?
Cabo.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. It was like overlooking the beach.
Yeah, it was like on the beach, beautiful waves, sand.
Tons of Broncos, right?
Yep, tons of
current and former.
Yep, for sure. Current and former, Vaughn, a whole bunch of guys.
Yeah, man, that's you can't beat a vacation or a wedding where you're on the beach with a ton of your former and current teammates. So we've talked about how good Russ was today. Want to continue to talk about that, but pose the question to you guys. Is this Russ stacking another day, or is this Russ and the offense showing that this is who they are? Does that make sense? Is it just another day that's stacked, or is this like, can we take a step back and say, damn, we feel good enough about this offense that we think this is who they're going to be? They're going to be a good offense going into the season. But first, I got to tell you about our friends over at AG1. AG1, it's very simple. You take a scoop of AG1, put it in your water with 6 to 8 ounces of cold water, mix it up, and that is going to give you everything you need for a healthy day, including probiotics, vitamins, minerals, antigens to help get your day started right and really give you that glow up that you're looking for. It's really going to help you out. I mean, energy is something that I've noticed with it. 75 high-quality vitamin or high-quality ingredients that get so many things that help with energy, focus, strength, and clarity. And if you want a free year's supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs, go to drinkag1.com/Broncos. That's drinkag1.com/Broncos. If you're like Hank and you're not able to eat healthy enough, AG1's a great thing to help that out.
My
So-
Factor box came yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
So one
well-
day? You're one day on the healthy?
Okay, that's fair. It is only one day. But I'm gonna go
I mean,
home.
2 days ago, you're talking about how often you eat McDonald's.
Yeah, it's often. It's cheap. It's close. Like, it's convenient. It tastes really, really, really good. But yeah, now I'm just a Factor guy.
Dang, a Factor and an AG1 guy.
What do you
Yeah.
wash your Factor down with? Well, you should wash it down with some Breckenridge bourbon, which is the official bourbon of the Denver Broncos contest. And they're having a battle of the Broncos blends right now. They have the Ed McCaffrey blend versus the Alfred Williams blend. And you go on, you vote. You can win tons of Breckenridge Distillery products as well as Broncos swag. They even have the ability to win 2 tickets to the Breckenridge Bourbon Whiskey Suite for the Broncos versus Chargers game on the 31st of December, which will be a fantastic game. Yeah, I think the Breckenridge bourbon is what you need to be drinking. We had a lot to drink at the wedding, and I feel like we needed that. That was our missing link for sure. So go to BreckenridgeDistillery.com and check them out.
We might need to get our hands on like because like Ed McCaffrey has a bourbon and Alfred Williams has a bourbon. We might need to try those.
What do you mean,
Like,
get our hands on
I
them? Do you
think-
see what's right in front of you?
It's behind the bucket. There it is right there.
Actually,
Okay, maybe.
they're actually over there, both of them.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Alfred Williams and
Oh,
the
you didn't
Ed
put the
McCaffrey.
fancy ones right here?
I didn't because they get blocked. It's too bright on set with your guys' star
Wow.
power that they get kind of like washed
Nice
out.
save.
So I had to
Very
put something
nice.
darker on there for it to like even out.
The fact that you said that gave us a compliment tells me that you're lying. 'Cause That's the only thing that you know to
I
save
was in a
yourself.
hurry and I couldn't grab both bottles. I was setting up.
Damn, do you
with
see?
that.
Can you see it here right now? I know Todd can, but he's doing the double headphone setup.
Wow.
Yep.
But like typically when people do it, it's like a headphone and then an earbud underneath. But no, he's just doing the full
Double
2
headphones.
over the ear headphones.
I was at an engagement party on Sunday, and it was like there was like a whole bunch of kids. Apparently, they both have like a bunch of like nieces and nephews and all that sort of stuff. So they had a table with these sticker pages. They were just unicorn different stickers. There's like 3 sets of eyes. There's like 4 different mouths, like all these different things. And so you make like your own custom unicorn thing. And I made one, and I put 4 eyes on it. And these little girls are just like so freaked out. Like they looked over and was just like,
How could
like,
you?
I know, it's like shock, and like they're terrified of speaking to me. Like, and I try to stay away from kids myself. It's just uncomfortable. We have nothing in common. But yeah, it was I will never get the look on that girl's face out of my mind when she saw. I named the unicorn eyeballs, but like just 4 eyes.
So are you horrified by the look that she had by being horrified by you?
Yeah, it actually
Wow.
made it feel like I did something wrong. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow, that's quite a story just to voluntarily tell, Henry.
I know. Yeah, that was I mean, we're
appreciate
talking.
that, though.
Oh, it's the hell those headphones he's wearing. That's what it reminded me. But also, Saturday night we might need to pick a winner. Ed McCaffrey, Alfred Williams.
Ooh.
I like
Yeah.
that. I like,
That'll
you know,
be
it is
good.
preseason, so we can throw them back.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like, and come to
throwing
the
it out
bar.
there.
We're gonna be here watching the game. Come down and hang out with us for the bar for the game. 6:30 p.m. on Saturday. Broncos' second preseason game. Javonte Williams is gonna be playing. The starters are as well.
Yep.
And Yahir, speaking of Yahir, has changed the rules a little bit to this giveaway. He wants you to comment Todd
Ooh.
in order to be involved in this
Oh.
giveaway. Also,
Okay.
hit us with the thumbs up and then comment Todd. That's TODD for some of the people that have already mistyped it on there. So help you here out. Comment Todd
It's just
and
easier
hit us
than
with the
like
thumbs up.
storing
Yeah,
every
of course, of
comment.
course.
It's just like you comment Todd, I see your name on the like list. It's easy.
So thumbs up, Todd, boom. There we go. Okay, so the question, are you ready to say that the Broncos, I should say passing offense, because that's all we can truly evaluate right now. Russell Wilson and the Broncos passing offense is going to be good this year, or do you need to see more?
I think this is stacking days for us. I wouldn't say that this is overall team stacking days because I do feel like there are a lot of miscommunication still within the offensive line. So
Yeah.
I can't say that the whole passing game is looking phenomenal, but I will say that Russ is looking better each day. And if the offensive line can get everything figured out, then them together can put together a really good passing game.
Yep. I think I'm in a similar spot. I think, all summer I was thinking not great things about Russell Wilson. I wasn't super excited about where he was. And then around the start of July, I started thinking like, you know what? I think I'm going to come around on Russ. I think I'm going to come around, but it just never really happened until these last couple of days, just watching him over and over. I was like, you know what? In terms of the receiver, 7-on-7 wise, this offense is going to be just fine. Russell Wilson can make enough of the throws. The receivers are good. I feel good about where that's at. The final piece is just the offensive line, and I watched a lot of the 1-on-1s and like the 2v2s, and even they had like the team period that's all running game with Matt McChesney, who's like a big offensive line guy, and he's just losing his mind the whole time, being like, how the hell is this happening? Yeah. And again, he's pretty critical. He wants perfection. There's all that sort of stuff. But standing there watching with him, hearing how he breaks it all down, it's just like, they're in a dark space right now. And so I'm really excited about like 7-on-7 wise. Offensive line still trending down. I'm starting to get really nervous.
And on game day, is it 7-on-7 or is it 11-on-11?
I think there's 11 guys out there.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys took the words right out of my mouth. I believe in Russ in having a big bounce back season. Top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I'm not there yet, but at least being an average or a little above average quarterback, I think he's there. And I think when you put 10 good days of practice together, even with Justin Simmons sideline, there's still other good players on the Broncos defense. When you put 10 good days of practice, that probably doesn't happen by accident.
No.
I mean, how many guys, Todd, did you see put 10 good days of practice together and they just weren't good players?
Yeah, that never really happens. And the hardest part about training camp is that you're installing every day and every night. So it's not even like you're on day 10, you're rerunning what you read on day 1 so that you perfected it. No, on day 10, you're running what we put in on day 9, and you have to get it right. So that shows that he's is learning how to be better and get better quicker because he's doing it with new material every night and every morning.
Yeah, and Russ after practice said he does believe that the offense is starting to click now, and I think we're absolutely seeing it. And 2 things why I'm going to say no as well about this is because of that offensive line, first and foremost. Today, Russell Wilson had 9 passing attempts. He would have been definitely sacked on 2 of them. Josie coming up the middle on one of them, and then another one, Frank Clark, would have, sacked him 5 times before they blew the whistle. And 2 sacks on every 9 dropbacks. That's like in a game, that's like 8 sacks, 10 sacks. That's awful.
That's a lot.
He would lead, he just wouldn't make it past game 4 if any quarterback's getting hit that much. And that's kind of how it's been every single day. Whether we're talking about 2 sacks or some days there's been like 5 sacks that we're talking about potentially happening, it can't happen.
No.
And it just baffles me because the Broncos have a massive investment at left tackle, a massive investment at right tackle, a massive investment at left guard, and then they have 2 developmental rookies who have some upside on the interior, but like the offensive line should not be this bad. Now there is time to get that worked out. And the offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardi, talked about it today. He said anytime you even take one piece out of that offensive line, it kind of resets the growing process. And they've had to do that because Garrett Bowles has been in and out throughout as they work him back from a fractured leg. Mike McGlinchey obviously been out for a week now. And then Mike McGlinchey's going to be put back into this right before the season. Is that going to reset a little bit? So you just hope that this offensive line can come together and protect Russ. Because if so, this is going to be a good enough passing game, especially when that's not what they want to do. They want to run the football first and foremost.
I'm interested to see who that leader on that offensive line is. I think they're going to look to McGlinchey because, he's a veteran player, has been good for a little while. But I think you have to set the standard for how we play as an offensive line or a group. Because I know guys coming in may change the dynamic, but it shouldn't change the standard. I think that even Super Bowl 50 or the year before, when I was a backup or Shaq Barrett was a backup, or David Bruton was a backup, we came in, but there was no fall off. You didn't see all of a sudden now they're just making big plays or Shaq can't get off a block or he's not getting sacks. We're making plays just like the starters were because we had set a standard. The guys in that defensive room had set a standard, and that's what I want the offensive line to be able to do. Create a standard of how we're going to play hard-nosed football, getting after people. I don't care if it's, I like O-linemen. I don't like O-linemen that do extras when I'm playing. But as a fan and as somebody watching the Broncos, I want them to be tough and nasty and kind of almost did he hit him after the whistle type players. That's what you want from your O-line. And I haven't seen that aggressive side of them just yet. And that's what I want them to be. And that's the standard I want them to have.
And the leadership question's a good one because Garrett Bowles has been there a long time, so he kind of is at the top of the list. I was talking to Quinn Meinerz at the end of last season, locker clean-out day, And I asked him about that, like being kind of a leader, like if he has a plan. And he was like, yeah, I think me and Lloyd kind of need to take over this room and kind of be more vocal. And so that's kind of what's going in their mind, saying like, we need to take this. Well, then all of a sudden you go out and give a whole bunch of money to Ben Powers and Mike McGlinchey. Those are kind of the bottom of the totem pole now. And you know, Mike McGlinchey, I think that's probably where I go leadership wise. You know, that's what he's known for. Like, he's a really smart guy, really bright guy. He's played on some good teams. Like, he has just that right sort of personality. He's also not playing right now, which can be it's a little bit disappointing. Ben Powers, you know, he was competing for a job last training camp.
Yeah.
You know, he was like a heavy favorite to make the roster, but was not necessarily a favorite to be a starter on that offensive line. Goes and has a great season, and now like he totally deserves what he's getting from the Broncos. But every guy on that line has his own question marks, and you do kind of need to see just some leader emerge and say, like, this is the group we're going to be. We're going to be mean. We're going to be physical.
And speaking of leaders, I think Sean needs to spend a little extra time with that offensive line, because maybe the number one coach that he brought in that's truly his guy is Zac Stevens, the offensive line coach. He drafted Zac in 2006. It was one of his first draft picks with the Saints. Then Zac played
Seventh round pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Then Zac played like a 12-year career, took 1 year off to become a broadcaster for the Saints games, then came back to be the assistant offensive line coach with the Saints with Sean Payton. And then Sean brought him here to be the offensive line coach. And I think Sean needs to spend a little more time with the offensive line now, because if this offensive line plays the way that they are right now, it's going to be a really struggling year for the Broncos passing attack, and then it's going to be tough to run the ball because teams are just going to key in on running the ball. And so that's something that is my biggest concern. And then the second concern is they were clicking last week too. And then they come out in the game and, I mean, didn't look good until they were playing backups. And so I think us, but definitely fans, I think fans need to see the Broncos offense look good. Not even great, look good in a game situation in the first quarter when they're going up against San Francisco's starters, or most of the starters. If they come out and have a field goal drive and then a touchdown drive and a punt, that's going to feel good. I mean, just seeing them actually do it in a game.
Yeah, it will be. And I know one of Sean's goals is to try and score on the opening possession as far as the offense. And that would be huge, because we talk about how good this defense could be playing with the lead and how important that is for our pass rushers, and also the confidence of our guys. If we think that every time we step on the field, especially the first time, we don't have to have a learning curve or kind of like get our plays or get our feet underneath them, kind of know what they're doing. Like, no, we're going to go out, we're going to punch them in the mouth, we're going to score first. I think that's going to be great for the confidence of all the guys in the offensive room. And hopefully they start doing that in these next two preseason games.
And this Saturday is going to be a great test, because you've got Javon Hargrave and you've got Eric Armstead in the middle of that defense.
Yeah.
If you can handle those guys, and I guess we don't know for sure whether they're playing or not, but if they're out there and they can stop those two and build some runs and not let them get sacks, that would be such a good sign going forward. And I don't like to read too much into preseason, but that's almost like a 1v1, 2v2 situation where you can just look and see what happens.
Shout out to Nick Bosa for holding out and not being there this game, because as much as I do want to see kind of how the interior guys handle those guys, I don't want to see Nick Bosa going up against a backup right tackle and Garrett Bowles, because that would just not be good. I mean, that's not good for anyone, any offensive line, but especially one that's struggling right now.
While we're on the offensive line, the Broncos were doing some interesting substitutions with the offensive line today. You know, Quinn Bailey was getting a lot of work in Mike McGlinchey's place. He's been playing almost exclusively guard. He would have been there when you were there.
Who?
Quinn Bailey.
Yeah, he was there.
Which is kind of crazy.
I thought you were going to say who again.
Yeah. But I mean, he's just stuck on the practice squad for so long, and it looked really good in the game he played last year at guard. They've mostly been working him at guard, but they're letting him try at tackle, which means he can kind of prove that versatility. They also, Kyle Fuller, he was brought in, and I think a lot of fans saw him as a potential replacement for Lloyd Cushenberry, competition for Lloyd Cushenberry at center.
Kyle Fuller.
Exactly. But he's been playing guard all of camp up until today, when he gets to try some center. They move Wattenberg and Forsythe out to guard. They're kind of testing that versatility, see who fits in where. And our guy Alex Palshevsky also got some run in McGlinchey's spot, so he's in that conversation too. Because it makes sense that they're trying different things and rotating different guys after what we've seen so far. And this Saturday is going to be a big day.
I'm happy that they're rotating, because just like Todd said, the depth there is very concerning. And it doesn't matter how you got here, according to Sean Payton. Doesn't matter if you're a $4 million player like Cam Fleming or if you're an undrafted rookie like Palshevsky. Todd, and it's not a surprise why they don't have depth there. Garrett Bowles has been in the league for a while, right?
Yep, for sure.
He's the last tackle that the Broncos have drafted. Not like first round at all.
Yes.
And he was, what, 2017?
Yep.
Yeah, 2017. They haven't drafted an offensive tackle since 2017. No wonder they don't have depth there.
Yeah,
and no
for
wonder
sure.
they have to go out and spend big money on a right tackle seemingly every single year. You got to draft guys, or you got to find diamonds in the rough, maybe like a Palshevsky.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
If they actually find a tackle by not drafting one, that would. We'll see what happens. And the truth is, I mean, Mike McGlinchey's going to be back, so we're probably not going to see too much of Palshevsky. But if he can prove enough to stick on the roster, and all of a sudden, I think everybody, me for sure, but I think in general, Broncos fans would be kind of excited to see what happens if he gets into the game. When's the last time we had that for the Broncos? A third tackle, a backup offensive lineman at all, who you'd kind of like to see get some reps and see what they can do in a real regular season game.
Yeah, and I mean, backup offensive linemen, especially undrafted ones, is something that excites you. Illegal Pete's happy hour is what excites me. 5 hours a day. They have happy hour 5 hours a day. That is insane. And it's like prime dinner time, too. 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. So they're just helping you out. They want you to get deals every single day from 3 p.m. till 8 p.m. at all 12 of their locations. Make sure to check out Illegal Pete's, not just in Colorado, but we went down to one when we were there for the Super Bowl in Phoenix. It's awesome. They've got great patios at every single one of them. Great margs. I mean, the best margs out there. And so make sure to check them out. Illegal Pete's. Stop by their happy hour from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. every single day.
And if you really want to enjoy that Illegal Pete's, maybe hit up our friends over at Kind Love, because they'll get you in the right headspace for a big old burrito. They've got all sorts of awesome products. They're a farm-to-table dispensary. They control like all of the genetics, the grow process, the packaging, all of that sort of stuff. So you can trust where it comes from. You know exactly where it comes from. But they're also known for their turbo cores, which is just like a little toothpick. You shove it in whatever you're smoking, whether it's a joint or a cigar or whatever. And it's a 100 milligram stick that's full of full spectrum cannabis concentrate. Has the pointed tip, like I said, so you can slide it in easily into whatever you could be smoking. It's vegan, natural, no chemical processing at all. It uses micro encapsulation.
What is that?
I don't know, but it sounds like what they should be using. They've got all sorts of awesome products. And if you mention DNVR at either one of their stores, Cherry Creek or North Denver, you'll get the DNVR exclusive discounts, 25% off all Kind Love flower, pre-rolls, and their turbo joint line. So go to their website, kindlove.com, look at their extensive menu, and order online.
All right, we are almost to the point of doing the drawing, so make sure to give us a thumbs up on YouTube, comment Todd, and we might pick your name to give away that awesome signed Todd Davis card. All right, let's put you through some trivia, Todd.
Uh-oh. Let's do it.
Trivia of your new teammates, Henry and myself. I love it here. Here got this graphic a little bit. It's a little misleading. Henry and I are your hosts. We're going to put Todd Davis through teammate trivia.
Okay.
See how well you know your new teammates. Yeah, we thought we should give you like a week to get to know us a little bit.
Is it just you and Hank, or is it
It's just
the whole
Henry and
crew?
I.
Okay.
Yep. We thought we'd take it easy on you to start off. And what we're going to do, we're going to give you a question or a prompt, and you're going to have to put us in order 1, 2, and 3 in terms of like the first one. Rank us in terms of age. So who's the oldest, second oldest, youngest among the three of us? And we'll just start with that one.
Oh shoot. I think I can get this one. I think this might be an easy one. Not easy, but I feel like Zach, you will be older than me.
Okay.
And I feel like I'm older than Hank.
Incredible. 1 for 1, Todd. Impressive.
Yeah, it is nice
Start
you can just
strong.
Google his birthday. Like, you don't have to ask.
Yeah.
Like, the internet just has that.
So,
you have to know me.
That's the thing, is like with Todd, it's so easy to get to know him because you don't even have to know him to get to know him because of Wikipedia. You just pull up literally everything.
It's true.
Yep.
Yeah, it's wild. I'm a month and a half older than you.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, both 31. Hank's the
Dang.
young boy
Yep.
here.
26.
Yeah, wow.
Young man.
Really young.
Yeah.
Can you drink?
Yeah, I can drink. I feel old now. Like I say 26, I'm like, oh, 26. Like it feels like I was 21. Like
You
a
can
year
rent a
ago.
car too. 25. That's
Yeah,
25,
I still
yeah.
haven't yet, but hopefully soon.
You gotta do it.
Maybe I'll just do it for fun.
It's empowering.
Just get like a nice car, spend a day with it,
Yeah.
drive up to the mountains or something.
Do it.
Just don't crash it.
Definitely not. Get the insurance.
Todd, an impressive start for you. Next one. Whose alma mater had the most prominent football team between the three of us? Or rank them, I should say. From most prominent to least.
That's tough because I don't know where you went to school.
Exactly. You gotta guess.
That's really tough. No matter what, Montana's last.
Almost
They're going
20,000
last.
season tickets sold this year.
So,
More than
I would
CU last year.
say myself second
Okay.
at Sac State because I'm just guessing that you went to a better college in Montana and Sac State.
Yeah. You know what? I wish I did, Todd.
No.
I went to the University of Denver, which hasn't had football since the 40s.
Wow. Dang.
So I get
if it was
beat-
hockey though,
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You know.
Yeah. If it's championships, we've dominated lacrosse
Skiing.
and hockey.
Yeah.
Skiing.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. So would it be Montana or Sac State number one?
I'm going Sac State number one no matter what. I don't care what the records say. We
Henry,
we're
I'm
better.
quiet
pretty
over
good.
there.
Yeah, I mean, I can sit here confidently. I know, the average attendance. I know like the history.
Mm-hmm.
I also know
Scandals.
Yeah. you gotta be an important program to have scandals. Like a scandal,
No.
they're like the stars. Like stars can be a good thing.
No, it's
No.
not. No, that's the worst way to explain anything.
Okay,
Is that
I mean,
how
like-
you feel about the Patriots? Are you like, damn, I'm happy they've got all those scandals?
That's different. Like the
How is that different?
They were like putting cameras in places. They were deflating football. I was like, Montana was just providing free legal service and like paying legal fees behind closed doors.
It's just a part of your greatness. It's like Michael Jordan and gambling. It's just kind
Exactly.
of
It's like, yeah,
you
what
gotta have.
He
You know what I'm
sounds
saying?
Cool. He's edgy. You
Uh-huh.
know? Yeah.
Did we talk about this? How much Phil Mickelson has gambled in his life?
Yeah, you said like 100. What was it? 100 million? What was it?
It's something
A
crazy.
billion?
$1
Woo.
billion is what they estimate he's gambled.
At the same time, though, you get like your yearly report for your sports betting, and that number you see it, and you're just like, oh my goodness, that's high.
Yes.
Because the thing is, like, oh, I put like $15 on this, and you lose it, and then you're like, oh, I'll put $20 on this, and and so all of a sudden you just go back and forth and back and forth, and you bet so much that the number seems big, but the margins are not nearly as big.
I bet he's betting big too.
Oh,
though.
I bet he's
my-
betting
there
big.
was something
There's
like
no $15 bets in there.
No.
there was something. No, there wasn't. There was something like he placed in the past 30 years or 1 year. I don't remember, which is a pretty big distinction. But he had placed 400 bets that were $110,000.
Wow.
He had placed 800 bets that were $220,000.
Oh yeah. He's going crazy.
Yes, he is. He is definitely. That's how you get to $1 billion.
And
guess.
I don't think enough people realize how much money $1 billion is. Like people kind of put million and billion in the same category or sentence, and it's a very different league. Like a millionaire versus a billionaire are two completely different people. Like that's so much money. It's crazy.
Yes.
Like there's yachts that are like $1 billion, which is
Yes.
crazy, and people will just buy that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. So my one of my mom's cousin's husband is
You've told this
Wait, say
story
that
a
3
lot.
times
I'll
fast.
that's a Montana way to start a story. But he's like a captain of a yacht, so it's like crazy rich guy, and his job like full time is just to run the yacht, and like awesome job, whole bunch of cool things, like has a big crew. But he was saying like to get internet in places, it was like $15,000 a month, and it'd be like, yeah, so this will actually only cover you in like this part of the ocean because they don't have satellites in whatever part, so you gotta get like another one to do that, and that's just money that people are willing to pay because they're like, yeah, I need internet on my yacht.
Man,
That's what I want to be like. That's the life right there, man.
Yeah, see
We
that.
could do the podcast from the yacht.
yeah.
Oh, could you imagine? Well, if we just had like a yacht week on the podcast.
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
That's it.
Todd, you're
be
the
nice.
closest one to getting us there.
Get Spano to start giving us some raises. Yacht fund. Super chats go to the yacht fund. Maybe that's what we do.
Okay.
You guys are just copying exactly what the DNVR Avalanche did 3 years ago, where they tried to start a yacht fund.
Damn.
No way.
Yeah, they literally did. They have a yacht fund from Super Chats where they're trying to buy a yacht and do this exact same thing.
How close are they? How much have they?
Oh, they're
made?
super far away. They're not even close.
Russ has his own private jet.
Yep.
He's not even at yacht status, probably. I mean, aren't those like hundreds of millions of dollars for one?
Yeah, the big
for
boys for
the
sure.
nice ones. Yeah.
Maybe instead we just get friendly with the Penners.
Uh-huh.
They've got that money.
Oh.
Yes.
Worth 40 billion,
Yes.
70
Interesting.
billion. Yeah.
I bet they have so many friends. I don't think they're looking for more friends.
You think? I don't know if billionaires. It probably obviously depends.
I can't even put myself in that headspace. Because, I mean, like, if I walk up to him, it's like, hey, Greg, want to go golfing sometime? He's like, yeah, this guy just wants to spend time with me because I'm rich. You know? Because, me in particular, I don't have a whole lot in common. Like, an interest in football, but also he runs Walmart. He's, like, older, like, I don't know. There aren't a lot of other reasons for me to be interested.
Well, especially with it being such a public thing, you can Google someone's net worth or in sports, you probably had a lot of friends come out of the woodworks when you were on the Broncos for a couple of years. Then when you signed a contract, and that's the
Exactly.
headline of every single newspaper is Todd Davis signs this contract with this much money. It's like it's very publicly known that now you just signed a big contract.
Yeah, you get a lot of texts that are just like, "What's up, cuz?" Like, and this from numbers you have never even seen before, just like random people. I'm like, "Who is this?" "Oh, it's your cousin. I'm like twice removed from your mom's side." Like, I do not know you, man. I wish you the best.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. I want some seats for the Broncos game. Yeah, I want some gear.
But then there's the other stuff. Like, I was just reading the Clinton Portis story yesterday. I think it was because there was some crazy, like, it was on the Broncos Reddit. That's what it was. It's like 26 days till the season. Let's look back at number 26, Clinton Portis. Also crazy. He averaged 1,888 yards from scrimmage in his 2 seasons with the Broncos.
Dang.
15
nuts.
touchdowns per year, too,
That
which is
nuts.
crazy. And I mean, that was like, I would have been like 4. I would have been 5 and 6. So like, I have like vague memories, but those numbers are insane.
You have what type of memories?
Vague, sorry. That's a Montana thing. Like,
I was gonna let him go.
it's the bag, but then there's so many different ones. So like, because I've been trying to coach myself out of bag towards bag,
There you go.
vag and vag. That one gets me. Bagel got me for a minute.
You say bagel?
No, not anymore.
Oh.
I
used
heard
to,
quickly
though.
that you don't say that. I struggle with those. But like his whole story, like he spent some money on things he probably shouldn't have, but also his financial advisors just would invest in things that he had no idea about, like losing millions of dollars. And I also didn't realize he made like $50 million in his career, which is a big number. But some of the when he sued them, it looked like there were tens of millions that had just been lost, or like mortgages taken out that he didn't realize were taken out. That's the other side of it. That's just terrifying.
Yeah.
Nobody ever tries that stuff with me.
Because I don't
Nobody's trying to take $1 million from you.
Yeah, nobody even wants to like steal my credit card.
Just
or
wait.
anything.
Just wait.
Yeah.
It's
Give
because
him your social.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes.
Like, go get declined for a credit card. Feel free.
Henry, no one's trying to steal money from you because you spend it all on food delivery, or do you? Todd, the next one. Rank us in terms of who spends the most money on food delivery.
I actually do enjoy DoorDash and Uber Eats. I am if I had a if they gave away like a special like Madden kind of like 100 club, I think I would be in the and the DoorDash club for sure. So I would say, because of Hank's McDonald's habits, I'll say him first, me second, Zach third.
I think that's probably pretty good. I mean, I'm probably on there probably once a week. I think at points it's gotten higher, especially like during football season. You get busy. It's like, you know what? The thing is, I'm like the Uber Eats member, and so they'll just consistently give me like 40% off if
So
I
you
spend
have to.
$25.
If you didn't, then you'd
Exactly.
be yeah.
So at the last month or two, I've been at like once a week. Before that, I've peaked around 3 times a week.
It's not too
Okay.
bad, Henry.
It's not terrible.
That's not too bad. Yeah, I'm
too bad.
definitely last.
Yeah.
My wife cooks a lot.
Okay.
So, yeah, I
Must be
benefit
nice.
from that. It's not anything on me. But I guess, Todd, are you buying it for the family?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah. I think it's both.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would have a couple, 4 or 5 times a week, maybe me, myself, 2 meals, and then maybe like 3 meals for the kids or something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe I was first on that.
It's so
Yeah,
convenient.
so, I mean,
it's so nice.
You were just 2 out of 3 on those. That's impressive.
Not too
That's
bad.
impressive.
Yeah,
No, I mean,
not too bad.
66%, if that's a passing completion, you'll take that.
Yeah.
If it's a batting average, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
You're the best player that ever played.
Yesterday, when we were watching the kickers, Mar went 5 of 7, or Maher.
2 days ago.
Yeah, was it 2 days ago? And you're like, well, 5 for 7, that's like 70%. That's like a C minus. But that's not how you can do those numbers because that make Justin Tucker like an A minus kicker. And he's the best ever.
No, yeah, 71% is an F.
Isn't that crazy?
When it comes to kicking.
That is true. It is
Isn't
an
it?
F.
I mean,
Yeah.
wasn't Brandon like bottom 5 and he was at 78 last year?
Probably. I mean, for over the course of a season, that's an F.
Yeah.
In an individual game, it's just so hard. Small sample size.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what's tough. That's
Yeah.
what's tough. Speaking of teammates, Todd, you he wasn't your teammate, but you went to a cool event last night for a former Bronco.
Yes. Steve Atwater had a great event. He hosts an event every year where a lot of guys come out for Fun Recovery, which is a nonprofit he works with to help raise money for mental health awareness and treatment. So him and his wife, Letha, had a great event last night, had a lot of fun. A lot of Broncos were there, from Terrell Davis to Rod Smith to Meckenberg. Had a lot of guys there, and it was fun. We had a good time. Every course came with wine, so you know how that goes. You definitely reach into your pocketbook a little quicker to donate. But we're doing it for a great cause, so it's always important to donate and give back to your community. And I think a little goes a long way. You don't have to give tons of money, but if everybody pitches in, you really can do a lot and help change your community. So great event, great people, great guy.
Was it an auction sort of thing?
Yeah, so they auctioned off some football, silent auction as well with some, maybe John Elway jersey or Terrell Davis jersey, and then a couple other cool things on there. They actually had an Office thing that I almost wanted to win. Rain Wilson from The Office, who's the white. They had like a signature and a picture that I bid, but I don't think I won that. But,
Did you come away with anything?
no, not this year. So last year, spent a lot of money for Mutombo jersey, signed Mutombo jersey.
Oh, wow.
So that's definitely framed up. And then usually I get a football and then like donate it and then just give it away to somebody who's there. But this year they had some good bids on them, so I'll let those people have them.
You know what you have to do? You have to win like a John Elway signed football, and then you also sign it as well, and then give it to someone. It's like you just got 2 signatures for free, I guess.
They're like,
for
what the
hell? Actually, speaking of this game, let's do one more.
Okay.
Because you brought up jerseys.
Okay.
Rank us in terms of who has the most jerseys.
As far as like you mean NFL players or just your collection of jerseys?
I think
or
in
jerseys
general.
you've worn.
I think any.
Yep.
I think
just
any jersey
jerseys
worn,
that you
bought,
have.
whatever.
Or not. Yeah, like you could have bought it at the store.
Uh-huh.
Like
True.
it doesn't
Yep.
have to be
Those
like
count.
a game worn jersey because I
We would
don't
not
really have
rank
any
well.
of those.
Yeah.
Any sport? Yeah,
Any sport.
Just a jersey.
I would say I put myself first. I
Okay.
probably have like 40 jerseys, football, basketball, signed. So I'd probably say me first. Next, you got a lot of Montana gear over there?
Do they even sell Montana jerseys?
Not online. They just released them. Because they have like the new Nike jerseys that you can buy if you're like up in Missoula, but I don't find them on the internet. I'm working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I'll say Zac II. You probably have a good amount of Denver jerseys, DU jerseys,
Yep.
and then Hank 3.
I'm at like probably 12.
12.
I think 12 would be my best guess.
I didn't get my first jersey until about 5 years ago. When
Really?
it was handed down to
Wow.
me. Todd Helton.
Oh.
He thought I was going Todd.
I
Davis.
know,
I was like, that's a phenomenal first jersey.
That
Like,
would have been incredible. I should have just gone that route.
Yeah.
Just, a Todd Helton World Series jersey. It was 2 small for my brother, too big for his wife, and they got it as a wedding present. And so they just gave it to me. And then I have an Alex English jersey, the first jersey I ever bought myself.
Okay.
An old school Nuggets one that I got just like a couple summers ago. So I'm only a 2.
Wow.
I
So
appreciate
no
that. You think
Broncos
I'm a jersey
jerseys,
guy.
no.
Yeah.
No Broncos.
We gotta hook you up, man. I think I know
was
some
never a
people. I
jersey
could probably
guy.
hook you up with a
Yes,
jersey
you
or
do.
two.
Yeah.
For
You know what I
sure.
need? I need a Todd Davis jersey.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
I bet you could get signed.
Oh,
I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know. You never know.
I'm really afraid that if all 3 of you wear a Todd Davis jersey, we won't be able to tell you guys apart.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah.
That is true. Could confuse some
Hey,
people.
I've been lifting weights. I've been gaining weight recently.
There you
I'm
go.
15
Wow.
pounds the last
Really?
5 months. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, good job.
Yep. Been creatine.
Yes.
I think that's
Oh,
been
okay.
I think
Good
it's been
stuff.
a friend. Yeah.
Good stuff.
In high school, I thought it was like a crazy drug,
Uh-huh.
and then I learned more about it. It's like, no, it's just in your body already.
Yeah, might as well take
Yep,
it.
yep, exactly. And speaking of which, you might as well take a sip of Breckenridge Brewery. Todd told you about Breckenridge Distillery.
Yep.
Breckenridge Brewery, just as good. And right now, you want to get your hands on some Mountain Beach Sour, which is such a good beer when it's going to be 96 degrees every single day for the next week. Mountain Beach Sour is that nice, refreshing, not too sour beer. It's light, and if you want to find it, go to breckbrew.com on their beer locator. You can find exactly where to find Mountain Beach Sour, Avalanche Amber Ale, any of their beers. So check them out, breckbrew.com, the official beer of DNVR.
Yeah, and head over to Shady Rays too. It's still summer. It's crazy. Even in the winter, it's sunny, so you probably just want sunglasses all the time. But right now you need them because it is hot outside. It's sunny outside. I couldn't tell. I think I might burn my forehead a little bit today,
Yes, you did.
which is tough because I did the exact same thing I always do. Like I get there, I put on the sunscreen, all that sort of stuff. But then today it just didn't work
Yeah.
because maybe it's just like too sunny or too hot or whatever it is. All I know is I was really lucky to have Shady Rays, even though I do have kind of like the lines going and some, but that's my own fault. Shady Rays are awesome. They've got all sorts of different products like the aviators or like I don't know the names of many other sunglasses. Those are the ones I know the name of, but they've got all of them. They also have things like snow goggles and things that are meant specifically for golf. And if you use our code, which is DNVR, then you can get 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. They've got stores around Colorado, but if you just want to go shadyrays.com, you can try the shades. They've been rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Just make sure you use the code DNVR.
And shout out to our friend Nick,
Yes.
who came over and said hi to us at Broncos training camp today. Took a picture with him. Really cool to meet you, Nick. And if you're out at Broncos training camp, I guess tomorrow's the last day the fans are out there.
It's true.
Make sure to come by and say hi. We'd love to see you. And speaking of you guys, comment Todd. Hit us with a thumbs up on YouTube. Let's get these flowing in because this is the last segment to win that signed card. So make sure to hit a thumbs up on YouTube, comment Todd on the live YouTube stream, and you will be eligible. Yeah, here, let's do that drawing in like 10 minutes or so. So you got a couple of minutes left to get in on that. And should we talk to the people in the meantime?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's hop in. We got a couple super chats in here. You hear? Pull those puppies up for us. First one, you found one pretty easily. First one coming in from Katie Hicks says, any new DNVR Broncos shirts releasing soon? Well, the season's coming around, and I've been talking to our guy, Eric, otherwise known as D-Line Co. He's got some things in the works. I know someone in the comment section said, when are we getting a Todd Davis
Ooh, love
shirt?
that.
Oh, yeah.
Todd, what? Just initial idea. What would a Todd Davis shirt look like? What would Todd Davis want a Todd Davis shirt to look like?
I think on the front, we'll say Denver Broncos, 51, and then have that cool emoji that we use for
Yeah.
me, for
Yep,
sure.
yep, yep.
And on the back is like a sick tackle, like maybe Melvin Gordon,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, 4th and 1.
Was that your
Big
favorite
time.
tackle?
Yeah, that was one of them for sure.
Okay.
And that was like my first big one, I would say.
Okay.
So I say that was definitely number one. So I would definitely put that on the back of the jersey. So
Yeah, I was talking to Nick Ferguson about this. I was asking him, like, what's your favorite tackle? It's like, yeah, Jerome Bettis. Just
Oh,
knocked the
that's a
ball.
good
And I was like,
Yeah.
which is so cool. Like, to me, it's just like, yeah, it's going to be a cool story. It's like Jerome Bettis. I'm like, oh, yeah, NFL player. Of course. It's somebody awesome like that.
Yep.
Like, that's just how it goes.
I think people would specifically like The one you said.
Yeah.
Okay.
For reasons in Denver.
I feel bad for
dang.
Melvin. I feel
I wasn't
bad
even thinking
for
like that.
Melvin. He gets.
But he didn't fumble.
Oh, he did.
Oh,
He didn't fumble. They didn't get the first down, but he held on to the ball.
Maybe
so.
not that great of a tackle though. I mean, other guys were able to do it. Other guys were able to do
Todd,
it.
you want to show him what a good tackle looks like?
Yeah, I think now, you know what I'm saying?
I guess. Wait. Oh yeah, 4th and 1. Doesn't matter if there's a fumble.
Forget the
Yeah, no,
card.
it doesn't matter.
Send Todd in the chat, and I'm going to tackle him right now.
Yes, let's
We have
go.
more than enough
There it
time.
goes.
Time for that to
While we're on
happen.
the subject, somebody yesterday said they'll pay $50 for the tackle.
Dang. For charity, if we did it like as a charity,
Exactly.
like an
Yeah.
like an
So,
exhibition.
there we
I
go.
was gonna say like we should split it, but also charity sounds way better. Charity sounds way
You got
better.
to think about that yacht again.
Yacht fund.
Yes.
Yes, yacht fund. Wow. Yeah. Just start throwing some numbers out there and we'll get a good idea.
All right,
I
for
love
sure.
it. I
We'll
love
see
it.
if it ever gets worth it.
All right, next super chat coming in. Next super chat. Oh, we have one coming in from Van. Says, "Who is one sleeper player that you guys are expecting good things from this year?" Should we turn it over to back of the roster Hank for this one?
That's a tough part is that like if you've been listening to this podcast, we're kind of out of sleepers. Because whenever
That's
somebody makes a
the
play,
point.
whenever I'm like, ooh, this guy might be something, I'll just double down Nate Adkins.
yeah,
He's
that's your guy.
I mentioned it yesterday, but when he was like he and Michael Burton on the field together and Adkins is in motion, Burton's in the backfield, there's like, this is going to work. Like this is going to work. I'll throw Jalen Virgil out there too because today he had another one of those plays. They motion him in the backfield and run behind him, and 3 for 3 twice in the game Friday night, once today in practice. They've run behind him, and he's gone one-on-one with a linebacker and won the block. There's something there, and there's a use for that. So I think those two are the two guys I look at.
Todd?
I don't know if he's a sleeper, but I would say the player that I feel like will have the most impact that's not a starter may be Drew Sanders. It feels like
yeah.
they're really gearing up for him to have a major role within this defense. And they talk about his ability. Vance Joseph called him a freak. Basically said there's nothing he can't do. So I look forward to them using him a lot. And as a rookie, that's a big compliment.
Yeah.
And it'll be a lot for him to take on. But I think they feel like he can handle it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And he actually, so I was talking to Josie after practice today. You came up, Todd. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he, because we're talking about like the green dot, like how things have gone. And he was
Yep.
kind of like 50-50. And he was like, I just asked him, like, yeah, so who had it when you were there? Like, when did you start? He's like, well, Todd had it first. And I was like, oh, yeah, of course.
I know that guy.
But yeah, point is, Drew Sanders, we were talking about him. Drew, was it Jaleel McLaughlin he laid out today?
yes.
It's that same thing where these high hits, you can't be doing this in practice. But again, you see it and you're just like, oh, this guy's going to be sick when he finally gets to
Yeah.
hit people.
Yeah.
I brought that with Josie, and Josie's like, yeah, we got in trouble for that. Linebacker's room is going to have to fine him. I was like, well, that's what it takes. That's what it takes.
Yeah, I mean, you can ask Todd. You get fined for horse collar tackles.
Yeah, I was
And
like-
he's had 2 in camp now.
And that's I mean, poor Josie.
Yeah, to get in trouble for that.
exactly. Josie and Alex, like, yeah, all the linebackers got in trouble for that thing Drew did. That's how it goes.
I mean, today, just to piggyback off what you said, Todd, Vance said today that he makes plays every single day that no one else can make. And it's like, that just shows you the athletic potential that he has. One guy that Vance also spoke super highly of, which I'll go very, very dark horse, Elijah Garcia. We saw him have 2 sacks
Yep.
in this past game. Vance, after practice, called him a prototype defensive lineman. So it's like, in his very first game, he goes out there and makes plays, and he's prototype, and Vance really likes the way he works. It's like, that's definitely a guy that could develop to be that guy. And there's also a spot, not a starter spot open for him probably, but there's a spot on the roster for him if he wants it.
Yep. A spot in the rotation. That's all you can ask for as a D lineman.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get work. They're going to rotate. It's like you get 10, 15 plays a game. You have a sack in one of those plays. Like, now you're getting more reps, getting in the game.
Yep.
That's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
And we saw that last year, Deshaun Williams.
Yeah.
He was, probably 26, 27? Right around there. And he finally has his kind of like breakthrough. This year, you got Jonathan Harris, who's been in the system for a while. And he's around that same age. And he's kind of ready to play that breakthrough. And Elijah Garcia, as he said, like prototype, like 6'5", 300 pounds, playing a 3 technique. Like, that's what you're looking for. He's 25. Like, sometimes those defensive linemen are late bloomers, and it's weird. We were scared about the depth of the defensive line. Now I'm really excited to see a bunch of these guys play.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like defensive linemen, sometimes they say podcasters are late bloomers. And Hank, I think you kind of fit in that category. You're kind of hitting your stride, 26 years old.
Okay, well, We'll call that compliment.
Yeah.
It's good now. We won't worry about what
You
that
gotta
meant
see the
about the
glass
past.
half full.
Yeah, exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right,
Yeah.
next one coming in from SC says, anyone else hate seeing Arrowhead continually be mentioned as the toughest place to play? I remember when that was Mile High. Got to get back to it. Let's call it by its real name, Geehaw Stadium. Isn't that what it's called?
That's true. Yeah, like we'll ignore that this isn't Power Field and just call it Mile High. We're no more Arrowhead.
No, Geehaw Stadium.
Is that what it is?
Yes, it is. It's so bad. What's it like playing at Arrowhead? Or should we not even ask?
I mean, it's loud. I will give them that. It's loud, and they like to pump up the crowd with that big old drum.
It gets cold
Yeah.
too, right?
Oh, this is just unbearable.
Exactly.
For no reason. For no reason.
You have to be there to know it's cold, though.
Yeah.
So
I've
I'm glad you asked.
Heard
Todd
things
that.
about Kansas
Yeah,
City.
yeah.
It is cold there.
Yeah, that bitter cold, that icy like biting cold for sure. But yeah, it's a good stadium. I wouldn't say it's better than ours, but they try to like bring out a celebrity to hit the drum to kind of get everybody hyped. But they're not doing nothing special over there.
There we go. That's what I like to hear. That is one thing that the Broncos need. We've talked about on this podcast for years. I don't even know if you know this, but when you were playing, they tried to have a fight song for the Broncos, and after the team would score, they would have this fight song, and that would play over the crowd, and they would put on the Jumbotron, and they'd want fans to sing. Did you ever know that was a thing?
No, I don't think I even paid attention.
I'm
Yeah.
not surprised because it was awful. And it never picked up, and it's like, it's really hard to implement a fight song 50 years into an organization's
doesn't work.
existence. They have, where the flags run across the field and Thunder, the horse, runs across the field. That's cool, but there does need to be a little bit more of some sort of traditional thing, or whether it's before the game they have something, because, man, the crowd, the stadium's awesome. They just need a little bit, something different. To make it feel like you remember that, when you go into Arrowhead, that they have a celebrity come out and do that. That Mile High needs that.
The thing about trying to implement a fight song is that like Michigan. Like everybody knows like the Michigan song, but nobody listens to it because it sounds good. It just sounds like college football. Like it's just tradition. It's just old. Like fight songs, nobody wants them unless they've had them for a really long time.
It's true. It's hard to like make something a tradition that's not a tradition.
Like imagine like somebody singing the national anthem for the first time right now. They'd be like, "Oh my god, this is awful." Like nobody wants to listen to this. But because it's been around for forever, it's tradition. Everybody's like, "Yeah, I love that. It's just so nice." But it's not like a good song objectively.
Not a fan of the lyrics.
It's inspiring. Like incredible. But like you listen to the song,
you just
you're
said
not
it was
just like,
awful. You can't say it's now inspiring and incredible.
Is it on your playlist?
No, it's not.
It's about the
not.
vibes more than the song.
Oh,
Let's
dang.
throw
You can just
it.
throw.
Yes.
Like refs don't announce that they're about to throw the flag. By the way, just so you know, like you can just put the flag up there.
Hey,
You don't
bud,
have to say
I'm
like
throwing the flag on you.
exactly. It's like, hey Garrett, bad play.
Actually, it's Strez brings up a good point in the comment section. Incomplete is a really good one that the Broncos have. That's a good point.
Yeah. Also, I'm not a communist.
Somebody's.
You know what is crazy?
getting
And we
deep in the
experienced this in
comments.
London with the Broncos game. Is they changed the lyrics to their anthem depending on if a king or queen is in power. Yeah, so
God
it's
save the
always
king now.
Yeah, and we heard that and we're like, oh,
Yeah.
that's different.
Again, like not a catchy song, but like you hear it and
Wow,
you're like,
you just
that
want to
is
tear
England.
down every country right now?
I'll tear down. Their anthems aren't. They don't sound good. That's not the point. They give you good feelings. They feel like America.
Velike?
America.
Not all of them. The American one does.
What are we going here? We got football. A chat from football coming in. V Football says, "Can we please get women's cuts on the shirts this year?" Yeah, here. Why don't you send that to Eric?
That is.
Because we can't. We'll pass that through.
Yeah.
Thank you for the super chat, football. Andrew comes in and says, "What's the story on Michael Bandy? Looked great last week. Number 46, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, like Julian McLaughlin, like Taylor Grimes, like comes into that final drive and does everything you could ask of him. He had did he catch a screen pass or was that Grimes? Because now you've got
Back of the Hank
Bandy,
roster, I'm
you've
relying
got
on you.
Grimes, you've got the new guy they just got signed, whose name I don't think I'm going to learn, which is kind of, I don't know. But they're all very similar players, and we'll leave it at that. But he caught like
You
a
didn't
couple
have
of
to
balls
add
across
the
the
we'll
middle.
leave it at that.
He had like the catch. It was like a third down catch, like tight window. Linebackers closing in, brings in like no huge plays, but he played one series, caught a few balls, gets an A for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see
Yeah.
if he keeps it up.
I mean, there's a lot of guys competing for that practice squad spot at receiver. And so
Including all those little slot receivers.
yeah.
They, like, if you were to see them without the numbers, you'd be like, this is the exact same person.
Yep, he would.
Grimes has played really well. He has separated. I'll give him that.
He has. Wyatt OK says, any update on Randy Gradishar making the Hall of Fame? Sad to hear about Coach Shanahan not making it. Anyways, love the vibes on the Todd Pod. The Todd Pod.
I like that.
I like it.
I
A little
like
too close
that.
to Tide Pod, but which kids were eating.
That
but-
That's
could be like
where
a
it went.
logo. Like you find like kind of like, I don't know. Maybe it's like the
Yes.
background of it. It's
Uh-huh.
like Todd, you know?
Make it orange and blue, and then
Like because they
Yeah.
are. Yeah, it's perfect.
all right.
Like it's just subtly a Tide Pod. Like you wouldn't notice unless somebody pointed out. Yeah,
the Todd Pod. I love it. It's got such a nice ring to it. Gradishar, he will get voted on next week,
Yep.
and 3 guys can go in from that category, whereas unfortunately only one coach could go in from today. And like the commenter said, Mike Shanahan not selected as a finalist for the Hall of Fame. Dan Reeves not either, which is just such a bummer because Mike Shanahan's unbelievably deserving.
Yep.
There's 6 coaches that have won back-to-back Super Bowls. 4 of them are in the Hall of Fame. One of them's name is Bill Belichick, who will be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
And the other one's Mike Shanahan. And you can look at so many other things. He's won 3 Super Bowls, 2 as a head coach, back-to-back. His coaching tree is insane, which just shows what he's done
Absolutely.
to offense in the NFL. He'll get in one day. It's a bummer that it has to be delayed at least another year.
It is. He
Yeah.
deserves it. It was also funny the way you said it's a bummer that Mike Shanahan and Dan Reeves aren't going to get in this year because Mike was a great coach. and then just bring up Dan. But
You want
yeah,
to bring up the case for Dan?
I
I feel
mean-
like people are more bummed about Mike,
especially yeah. I don't know what the general feeling is about Dan Reeves, but I know
that he almost kicked John Elway out
yeah,
of the
exactly.
city.
And so like when my family was kind of like bad vibes
Yeah,
for Dan
I
Reeves because
agree,
he
I
leaves.
agree.
But I think league wide there's a lot of respect for what he was doing and like
Yeah.
the offensive mind because I can't remember what his like Falcons how far they got. Right? Because was he at the Super Bowl against the Broncos with the Falcons? He might have been.
Potentially, yeah.
I don't spend a lot of time thinking about Dan Reeves
No,
until
I
like
don't
this week. But yeah,
either.
it is sad. Like, because those are Broncos legends. I mean, those guys ran the Broncos combined for like 3 decades.
Yeah.
Other than Wade Phillips had that year in there, I guess. But I don't know. It's sad. Mike deserves it.
Yep.
Dan probably does too.
You make fun of me
I'm
for
sure
saying
he does.
that,
I'm
and you
sure- I
turn
mean,
around and say the
but
exact
it's-
same thing.
I don't know. Mike is like a legend around here. Dan is like, there's a hierarchy.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Maybe this isn't the day to be talking about that.
I mean, Dan drafted Mike or John Elway's replacement and did not
Yeah.
have a good relationship with him, and it felt
Yeah.
like it was to a point of, all right, it's John or it's Dan, and obviously it's an easy decision.
Yeah,
to
so
make.
he was
Yeah.
he was the head coach of that Super Bowl because he got there
With the
97.
Falcons. Wow,
Oh, right, 97. That would have been it.
it's a good little storyline.
Yeah, interesting. I believe. Dre, is any of that wrong? Okay, fair enough. It wasn't
They weren't
egregious
even
at
listening
least.
to the pod. We have football guys in
Sheesh.
here not even listening.
Yeah, 2-time AP Coach of the Year. Never won the Super Bowl as a head coach. Won it as an assistant with the Cowboys. Also won it as a player with the Dolphins, I believe.
Todd, if you
or
want
with
to
the Cowboys
those
against the
guys,
Dolphins.
maybe they'll start paying attention.
You think so? You
Yeah,
think
yeah, I
that'll
think
get
so.
them-
I think so. I think it'll get them to wake
Zach,
up.
you can't use Tad as a personal mercenary when you're not happy. Like you can't.
Yeah, what is
tackle
this?
people.
What is this?
He's like Jason Bourne to me right now. Like, hey, Jason, we got something for you.
That's not how this works. Yeah. Never asked me to do anything like that.
Well, it's the Todd Pod. I would not ask you to do something on the Todd Pod, Henry.
Fair enough.
Next one from Jesse says, Todd, big fan of all the way from Rockin', California.
Rockland.
Oh, Rockland,
Yeah.
California. I thought we were talking, pumping California up. Well, because you're from California, so that's what I thought he was doing. He
Yeah.
says, I'm coming up for opening week. Would love to see you at the bar and meet y'all. Well, we're going to be at the bar. We're going to be
I'll
at
definitely be
Tailgate,
here.
too.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we're doing post-game show here. So from Rockin' or Rockland, California, we'll be here. Can't wait to
Yes,
see you.
we'll
Yes.
definitely be here. So come through to the bar. It's going to be packed. Get here early because for
Yeah.
a preseason game, it was really packed. So I can only imagine for regular season opener. So it's gonna be
man.
fun, man.
It's going to be really
gonna
fun.
be a
I'm
blast.
so
Do it.
excited for actual football.
Me too.
We're so close.
Me too. We are. SC says, Todd, what was the vibe in the locker room after Aqib snatched Michael Crabtree's chain?
Oh, it was a good vibe. It was fun. It was felt like that Debo energy. And you know, when you're friends with the guy who won the fight, it's a way different feeling than being friends with the guy who lost. So it was fun. We just couldn't believe like it actually happened like that, and it went down like that. But if anybody was going to do that, I feel like Key was the guy who was going to do it. But it was fun.
You ever see anybody's chain after that and be like, I remember, like, to me, I would think every time somebody was playing with chain, I'd like, oh yeah, Key would snatch this right now.
Yeah, it was funny. I don't remember exactly who it was, but there was a couple of times throughout that year or the next year that the DBs knew guys had like played with chains, and then they would show up to the game and they'd be like bare neck, no chain. Like they were all nervous, like for their chain to get snatched because you can't live it down. Like that's just a moment in history that you just feel like you got, and that's just what it is.
Oh, it's incredible.
Oh man, Aqib has so many good stories. We're gonna have to dive into some Aqib stuff.
That guy's a legend.
Yes, he absolutely is. Also his talk after the Titans game. Did you see that? Do you remember that clip when he was talking to reporters after the Harry Douglas fight?
When he went after Chris Harris's knee on a block.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have to pull that clip up because I actually think maybe it was Ryan Green that put that out in the first place to make it go viral. Our own Ryan Green. We'll pull that up when we have an Aqib day because it's good, Todd. Okay. More super chats, but we had a comment from Richard that said, we have so many people watching, only 266 likes, preseason numbers.
Oh,
Let's
man.
get those up. And one more comment until we pull?
We're out of super chats.
We're out of super chats. So,
that's great.
Here, why don't Todd, why don't you pull up, or I'm sorry, not Todd. Why don't you pull a winner for us?
Let's do it.
And when you are doing that, we'll read a couple of questions on the website. And of course, if you're a member, a diehard member with DNVR, you can leave your comments on the website and those will get read on the podcast. And we've got a couple coming in. First from the count says, Todd, could you be so kind as to let us into your thought process of not coming out of retirement when the Broncos asked you to do so?
Wow.
Also, are you in favor of going back to the old uniforms? And what other current players think about the vintage threads? Love the count.
He is that
The count.
CIA? Because he definitely has the inside scoop.
He does.
Yeah, the Broncos called me and we had a couple of conversations. The year I decided to retire, they asked me to come in. I think Alexander Johnson got hurt. They asked me to come in. And then also Josie got hurt that year too. And then they called me again. And you know, for me, I think football was always a jump start to life, not my entire life. And I felt like I love the Broncos organization, but just it's tough to leave somewhere the way I did at the end of training camp, where if you really wanted to let me go, you could have done it earlier so I could get somewhere, be comfortable, and kind of make a name for myself and have a spot. And then I just didn't love the way everything went down, like as a player. And then I wanted some security because of how everything went. Like I wanted just a little bit of guaranteed money, a bigger contract than just maybe, I guess, a league minimum, just to give me that security so that I wasn't like feeling like I was on my way out every time I didn't make a play or missed a tackle. It just never happened, you know. I talked to Payton a lot, George Payton, and I felt like we have a good relationship, but it just didn't work out. And I'm totally happy with my decision, and I'm happy to be on the podcast now. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Yeah, let's do it.
And that was just 1 year after they released you, right? Because you got released in 2020, and then you retired the very beginning of August in 2021. So it was very fresh still.
Exactly. And I had been training and working out, so I was definitely in shape. I just felt like, you know, as a player, it's tough because you never know when you're going to get cut. You never know. Even at the Vikings, like I had a pretty good year at the end of the year, talked to George Payton and the other, I forget the head GM's name, and they're talking about, oh, we're going to bring you back. You fit the system perfectly. And I think they didn't go with me because of like money, but it just feels like I had no certainty around different parts of the league, and I didn't want to. I never wanted to be the guy who could have hung it up and just decided to, like Leonard Fournette, like he should be done. Like he had a good career. There's no reason to be playing or just hoping for another call. Like,
it's just dangerous.
Let's just move on to your next phase of life. And so I chose that, and I'm happy with it for sure.
I have to imagine going out on your own terms instead of like desperately hanging around, and then eventually you're just like, okay, it's been 3 years now. I haven't got a call. I guess I'm done.
Yes.
Does feel probably better.
Yeah, and I had to work so hard to be an undrafted player, to make a name for myself and become a starter. Like, I definitely didn't want to get to a point where I had to feel like I had to do it all over again.
Right.
Were you living in Denver at that point?
Yep, I had always lived in Denver. My family moved out with me, and we rented a place in Minnesota, but Denver was like, we had already built a house here. It was already my home.
Okay.
Were those conversations in like August and throughout the season?
Yeah, it was early in the season that year, and then another time once somebody else got hurt within that year. Yeah.
Was one of the times harder to say no to?
I would say the first time was harder to say no to.
Yeah.
Because I did want to go. I just wanted a
Yeah.
little bit of security.
Yeah,
And then the
that's fair.
second time, it was like the same offer. So I'm like, well, I kind of didn't go the first time. I'm probably not going to go this time, you know.
You got to pony up. You
Yeah.
got to pony up to get Todd. I'm happy that we did. All right. Do we have a winner you hear? I think that's a yes. Yes. Who is it? Oh, Joseph. Love
let's go.
it. Joseph Cardoza. Make sure. What should they do? You hear?
Messages on DNVR_Broncos. If you don't have Twitter, send us an email at info@thednvr.com, and we'll just get it sorted out. Give us your information, and we'll send it out your way.
Perfect. And do that by the end of this week so we can just make sure we get this to you. So, Joseph, hit us up on Twitter, DNVR_Broncos. Say you're Joseph, and we will get all of your information and send this out. Or email info@thednvr.com in order to get your card. We got time for 2 more really quick.
Let's do it.
One coming from Arvada Luke says, fellas, I know it's Dulcich and Albert O being put in a lot of blocking situations in the game. Could that be reps for experience, an attempt to coach them up in blocking, or setting up some misdirection for the regular season?
We had an interesting talk about this today a little bit. I mean, Albert O has made some really good blocks, and he made another one today. The problem is there aren't enough of them. Like, there are times when he like hits guys on the ground, which is something I don't remember seeing in the past. Like the pancakes from Albert O.
Yeah.
The thing
Two of
is,
them in practice today.
I don't think he's getting to the point where you say, you know what, let's play him in line, let's trust him as a blocker. So what he really needs to do is prove that that he should be on the field as a receiver, because he hasn't quite produced as a receiver enough to say we want him out there in the slot. Because, you know, when you're figuring out who you want to line up out there, you've got guys like Kendall Hinton, guys like Taylor Grimes now. Like, obviously Dulcich is in front of him. And when you talk about him as a blocker, you still don't get to the point where you say, we want him out there over a Manhurst, over a Trautman, over even a Dulcich. And same thing with Dulcich a little bit. Like, he still needs to come along. He's just a couple years behind Albert age-wise. He's saying maybe it will come. But it's nice to see them improving blocking-wise, but I don't see Alberto in particular as somebody who they're going to say, we want him out there as a blocker. And Dulcich, at least he's young, and give him some reps.
Yeah,
Younger.
I mean, he still needs to show consistency
Exactly.
a long way. But it was nice to see at least a flash of it. All right, we've got to wrap up. Last comment from Nash Bronco. Keeps it simple. Gucci Danucci. We'll talk about Danucci
yes,
later
we
in the
will.
week. Maybe after this game, after he balls out, because he has been fun and got some big-time comments. But this is a big-time show. Really enjoyed it, Todd and Henry. We'll be back tomorrow on the DNVR Broncos podcast. Make sure to stay tuned to our final training camp podcast, at least the official one. We're out.